Hey, it's the Dirty South podcast. We're back. Ward Wrestling, SE Wrestle, Jason, Dan. Uh, Here we are. Man, so not a ton happened last week. I know everybody's kind of getting into all the teams are being done, all the team chairmen and everybody that's involved with the teams are busy as all hell trying to get everything ready, getting flights ready, getting people signed up.
Yeah, just because it wasn't busy for us and there wasn't a whole lot of wrestling
Yeah.
necessarily going on doesn't mean that everybody else in the world wasn't super busy. And to be fair to us, I mean, I was working on some Fargo previews, trying to get some rosters, trying to coordinate my travel schedule. You've got to try to coordinate your travel schedule. I mean, it's not as if we weren't busy, right?
No, absolutely. We were doing all of that. And by the way, Jordan Burroughs was in Florida, in
Oh,
Brevard
I
County.
saw that. I saw your thing on Instagram, man, and your photo booth looked awesome. How much
Yeah.
how awesome was it? You got to tell me.
Oh my goodness. So first of all, and I talked a little bit about this Chris earlier. I didn't know where I was going, but but this guy is so down to earth and so fun and loving with the kids and so approachable by the kids. He was awesome. I mean, he would sit there for an hour with the kids wrapped around him doing questions and answers and letting them ask anything they want and answer them honestly, and just learning about him and doing all that. But something that's amazing is like, you hear obviously, okay, I can go to this camp and he's going to teach his double leg, right? Well, yeah. Did he show a double leg? Yes, he talked about it, but he did so much more than that. He broke down the basics of a good stance. He broke down the basics of good defense. He did cool little drills like where you hop over a kid and go under the legs, hop over the kid and figure eight through the legs, and um, so many different things like that. But to hear him talk and tell how down to like he finally captured a state title his senior year. He never
Mm-hmm.
really could do any off-season wrestling until he got to college. He didn't really do off-season wrestling until after his freshman year of college, which obviously once he did that, he jumped another level. Um, he was never able to get out to 32 or Fargo or Tulsa or he was never able to make it to those big national tournaments. He wasn't highly recruited out of college. And then
High school, yeah.
somebody, yeah, out of high school, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was pretty well recruited out of college. Yeah. Uh, but out of high school. And he says someone took him to a national tournament his senior year or something, and he won the thing. He beat like state champs from all over the country, and Nebraska made him an offer, and he said that was the most life changing moment that he had. He spent 15 years living in Nebraska. Nebraska became home. Nebraska is where he found his wife, where he had his kids. Right. He just went back to New Jersey recently over the last few years and started his club and stuff like that. But it's crazy to think that a guy like that, we just assume he's been great since he was 5 years old, but it just so was not the case, you know?
Well, I it's interesting. You and I have a little bit different perspective, right? In that you know, I didn't assume that. In fact, I actually knew that wasn't necessarily the case,
Right.
right? On the outside, if you weren't around the sport back in the early, 2010s, you would know that, but you weren't. But the thing that's interesting is that, and I think this is the thing that is the most important takeaway for all of your aspiring, Olympians or your aspiring NCAA champions or whatever. And the truth is, you have no idea who is going to have such a tremendous impact on your trajectory. Okay.
Right.
And and Jordan Burroughs is unbelievably good, unbelievably talented, but it takes like this confluence of things to come together. One of those being Mark Manning, his coach at Nebraska, coming in and whatever it was really helped move him from point A to point B to point C to point D. And
Yeah,
maybe it was
I
a
mean,
level of maturity on his part or whatever. But
I'm,
and the thing that sticks with me is all of you that are striving to get to there, right? Find that person. Find the people that are around you that can
right.
help you get there.
And that's kind of what I was saying. Well, first of all, I mean, he went 16 and 13 his freshman year in college, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, and still, I know kids are like, wow, he got 16 wins as a freshman at D1. That's still pretty good. Yeah, I understand. But compare 16 and 13 to two undefeated seasons, to a gold medal, to a world. They're light years away from each other, right? And, but yeah, a lot of people would say about that, yeah, I mean, but you've got to be athletic like him to hit that double. You got to be this. But I don't think any kid is walking into that room saying, I'm going to do a double leg like Jordan Burroughs, right? But if they walk out of there learning one thing, if they get 20% of what he's teaching, they're going to be great, right? If they get not just the technique he's teaching, but the mindset he was teaching and how
Right.
he was talking to people. If kids just take a little bit from that, but kids dream, right? Kids dream, and kids are allowed to dream, and kids should dream.
I
And when
dream. You dream. I
yeah,
dream I can run to the bathroom before
right. And I when kids meet somebody like that, it helps them dream too. Like I
Absolutely.
I just touched that guy and he's human. I
Yeah.
just you know what I mean? So
So
why not me? And that's pretty cool.
yeah. So for me, one of the things that has always been my saying, right? That's the saying that I've tried to embody is the journey is better than the end by Cervantes. And that is you embrace the process. Now, it is hard to embrace that process. The process sucks at times. Okay. But I believe what you just said is super important in that you have to kind of figure out what that next step is. And if you are, and I used to tell my kids this, and they didn't wrestle. My three daughters didn't wrestle, but every interaction you have with people is something you can learn from, whether you're learning what not to do or you're learning what to do to help you be successful.
Yeah.
But every interaction you have, put it in your toolbox, put it in your back pocket, learn
Yeah.
something
I
from
mean,
it.
even the interaction for me with him was awesome. I got to have my photo booth up. Now, uh, you know, halfway through the second session, I had to break down the photo booth and they went to cell phones because Coach Graham was just like, man, the line's not even moving. I'm like, well, it's not because of my photo booth. It's because do you know who this is? Like, this is Jordan Burroughs. So the kids are coming up and they're getting 6 things signed before then. But we got plenty. I mean, we probably got 70 photos at the booth, and the kids were loving it and having so much fun. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Jordan, I apologize that the line's going slow. He goes, don't worry, I'm used to this. There's clinics that I do where I'm in a photo line for 3 hours.
Ooh,
He's
ooh.
like, he goes, I understand what my position
I
is.
I
And
love that he embraces that. I
right.
love that he embraces that because
Yeah.
it has such a tremendous impact on the people around him.
And that's what he
That's so
said to
cool.
me. But it was cool. Like he quoted like Dan Gable, if I shoot, I score. If you shoot, I score, right? He goes, so when I learned that. But the one cool thing he told the kids was like, he's like, obviously nobody wakes up in the morning and go, man, I love to train. I want to train today, right? Like
Bo Bassett might, but other than that, I don't know if
right.
anybody.
And he said he remembers Serena said something to the effect of, there's never a day I feel like training, but there's never a day I wake up and feel like losing.
No doubt.
So it causes her to say, okay, I may not want to train today, but I'm going to train because I know for sure I don't want to lose today. So things like that, little things like I told my son, he said that he creates a brand new playlist for every competition depending on how he's feeling. So he creates the music and the playlist different for each tournament based on
Yeah.
what he's feeling that day.
Well,
So
it's part of
little
the
things.
process. It's part of the process, man.
So that's cool. That was cool. That was cool. So shout out to Graham and FCA Brevard for making that happen. But not just having, I know we talk about Burroughs. He had Nashawn Garrett there. He had Travis Patrick there. He had DeAugustino there, Mike DeAugustino there. So, yes, Burroughs is Burroughs, but he had DeAugustino, Travis Patrick, and Nashawn Garrett are studs in their own right, in their own mind too. So
they are. But the other thing that I think people should keep in mind is you might learn what works for you from somebody else, and if that works for you, then that's great. So, give yourself the opportunity to be, exposed to lots of different ideas by lots of different people, and then figure out what works for you to get you better. Whether it's you better as a person, you better as a coach, you better as an athlete.
So yeah, it was obviously cool, and obviously for an adult, and talking to him, I know you remember I asked people about what it mean to compete at the Olympic trials, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we did have one athlete that was like, I complete the way. Remember?
Yeah. You don't need to say any names, but yeah.
And and that's just the way he believes, right? And but even talking to Burroughs this weekend, now I didn't get it on the microphone because I was just talking to him while we were waiting for people to come up. He said, I said, Olympic trials was unbelievable, even for a guy like me taking pictures. And he goes, yes, it is unbelievable, the opportunity, and to be in an arena like that and to get to compete at that level. People don't realize how awesome it is. And this is a guy that's, will we see a 7-time world champ again in our, I hope so. I hope we get wrestlers that good, right?
Yeah.
We'll see. We've had Olympic gold medalists, obviously. But what he's meant to wrestling has been so great. And to still hear him humbled by getting to compete at events like that is pretty cool.
Well, and it wasn't his best event, but it's not as if he walked away from the event a particular way.
One of the kids asked him, what was your easiest match ever? And he answered, he goes, I don't know, maybe you. Told a little kid.
All right. So this week we are doing a Fargo preview, right?
Yes. And I saw Zoe trying to get in, but then I saw the link and then I saw it come up. But as soon as she comes up, we're going to have Zao Estrada in, one of the top girls in our country, Zao. And awesome.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to ask her. The one thing I'm going to ask her is, what's it like having Dad Estrada? That guy's awesome.
So before we get to her when she pops back in, so let's just do a quick rundown for anybody who's watching this, who's like, what's going to happen? So we're going to break Fargo, a little bit of a Fargo preview, into two different things. One next week, one this week. So this week, because we have Zao Estrada, we are also going to do Team South Carolina. Zao, how's it going? You doing okay? Can you hear me?
Can you hear us yet? Oh, you gotta come off mute. There's a little microphone, and if you click it.
Okay, there we go. Hear me? Okay,
yes.
I can hear you.
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
You probably can hear us without the microphones because we're both really loud.
And it's good to see you. Really good to see you, Zao.
You too.
Yeah, your dad's he's a little soft spoken, right? He's not nearly as loud as everybody else.
No, he's pretty loud.
That was a joke. I know.
No, I tell people one of the best interviews I ever did was your dad. You guys were still in Colorado. It was right before you moved. And man, he's full of excitement. I know we're going to talk about wrestling here, but my question was like, man, what's it like having that guy as a dad? That's got to be pretty cool.
Well, actually, I think she should answer that question. What is it like?
If you get through life with him, then everything else comes easy. That's what the perfect way to say it.
Yeah, I have a video of him. Who was the kid that won? You and I were there. We were on the corner of the match at the Hilton Head Grappler, and he had a young man that came back in the quarters. He came back in the semis. Then he came back and won in the finals. And I have a video of him like, yeah. Like
That might have been Jimmy. I don't know. If he was bigger, then it was probably Jimmy or Devin.
Or
it was awesome.
he could have been coaching Giannis Charles as well, maybe.
Oh yeah.
And he was just screaming, believe. That was awesome.
So you adopted the thing of once you've wrestled, everything else in life is easy, and your mantra is once you've lived with Coach Estrada, everything else in life is easy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Harder than wrestling.
That's
so
awesome.
I know you. We will see you in Fargo.
Yes.
In a week, well, a week and a half or so. But you had a little bit of a decision to make. You could have gone to Pan Am's and competed for Team USA at Pan Am's, but because of the overlap,
I wouldn't have made it back, or not for girls at least, because I am doing Greco boys again this year.
I know. I want to talk about that, but so what was the conversation like about making the decision to come back to Fargo as opposed to go to Pan Am's?
Well, it was kind of hard. Like my mom, because it's in Peru, so my mom wanted me to go to Pan Am's because she wanted to come with me and travel to Peru. And so that was like kind of the only thing, just because I did make a Pan Am team when I was in 15U, and so I can always make a Pan Am or a world team again. And this is my last year at Fargo, and I've always come so close, taking second and third and fourth and whatever. And so I really wanted to win it this year.
Yeah. I mean, it makes a ton of sense. And I want everybody to know that, like I try not to pick, different kids. I mean, I'm cheering for all the Southeast kids, and I want them all to do super, super well. But man, I'll tell you, you and Genevieve Vaughn and several other people have come so close and have not won. And Zao, how do you respond when you get, like last year, you got there, you expected to win? How do you pick yourself back up to come back out for Greco?
Well, right after the match, I run off and I cry for a little. But then once I collect myself, I'm like, it's okay. It's just a match. And I always just think that whoever beat me, Claire Boo, she beat me. And I was like, she definitely worked hard and she deserves this too. I just think that whoever beats me deserves it just as much as I do.
Another Southeast girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there match side, and when you got that, and I asked her, because I cover the Florida team too, and I asked her after the match, I'm like, because usually when I see you get someone in that bow and arrow, it's game over.
Yeah.
And you got her in that bow and arrow, and somehow she wiggled out of it, and she's like, I mean, she obviously, if you wrestle Zao, you better figure out how to get out of it, or else it's done. But I thought you had her there, and I was like, man, and obviously we love Claire Bowie. I just had her on the show as well. But
I just went to the OTC and she was there, and she was really nice and cool.
Yeah.
So. But
we've seen you second, third. I definitely this year you'll be. I'm always rooting for you anyway.
Thank you.
But it's tough. It's tough when we have Southeast girls. Like the match, I think either before yours or after yours was 2 Southeast girls with Val and Gabby. I'm watching that one too, and I'm like,
that was a good one.
Hey, can these girls get split up? I want to be able to root for somebody.
I want all of them to win.
They're in the finals. I mean, that's it is one of those situations.
I want everybody. Can we give them all a big stop sign? But,
so you got a team coming this year, as far as a lot of different kids and everything else. You've been on the stage before. If you were going to give advice to somebody who's never been to Fargo and has to walk up on that big stage in front of everyone else, what are you saying to them?
I don't even know what I would say, because I feel like I have stage fright or something. I have something wrong. Every time I start to walk on that stage, I just can't think, and all the lights. And so I would just say to take 3 deep breaths and to just focus on the match and look at your opponent and just focus on that instead of all the lights and cameras around you, and just focus on the match and not anything else, and just think like you're at practice or off the stage. Because I feel like I always do so good off the stage, and then I get on the stage and I just start looking around and see everyone and all the cameras, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't lose now. This is the time I can't lose.
Especially with the new placement of the stage. 2 years
Yeah.
ago, they moved them
Yeah,
over to
we
the
like came
stands.
from the stands. I was walking down, looking side to side, seeing people cheer, and I was like, I can't lose.
How cool was that walking down through
Yeah, it was
everyone?
cool. It's always cool, and after when I think back on it, I'm like, well, that was really cool. Like, I'm lucky I get to be up there and get to do stuff like that. But I
Yeah,
let
no.
it get to me sometimes.
If you were given the chance this week, if you could draw your bracket coming up to Fargo, would you put yourself on the stage before finals just so you kind of would put that out to the side and say, I got this? You know what I mean?
A practice run, yeah.
Absolutely.
And also I like sometimes it's hard for me to do 2-day tournaments because I feel like I get in a groove that like I'm doing good and I start doing good throughout the tournament, and then the next day I'm like tired and sore, and it's just like I have to start all over again. And so sometimes that's hard. So I would like to have a first time on the stage to just get that out of the way and then finish off the same day instead of a 2-day tournament.
So what has your preparation been like as far as getting ready for this coming week?
I've just been dieting a lot, like, because I don't know what weight I'm gonna go yet still. But just running and practicing. We've been having like 2-day practices and a run and teas and shakes and everything. So a lot.
Yeah. So, I love the fact that you wrestled Greco. And you're awesome at Greco. I mean, you
Thank
really
you.
you go out there and compete. And I think there's only been one girl, like Sage Mortimer, I think, won in Greco, right?
Yeah, she got 8th, I think, or 7th.
Or yeah, she made the podium at Greco.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously your goal is to go out and win. You want to win every single tournament you enter. But do you approach Greco any differently than you approach freestyle?
Kind of. I have more fun with it. That's why I think sometimes I do better because I have more fun. And like, since it is boys, I don't really expect too much. Like, yeah, I want to win and definitely get a plaque and stuff in place. But if I don't, I'm not as upset. Like, losing to a boy isn't as upsetting as losing to a girl, which is rude. Like, no offense, girls, but it's just because we're the same. I'm like, good job, you beat a girl. And in Greco, you're good. Like, it's just not as big of a deal. So I have more fun with it. And I grew up wrestling Greco, so I just love throwing people, and it's just fun. And I get to be more lazy at practice because you stand up. You're not having to be in the stand, so that's nice.
But you can see it too, because when I watch your matches and take pictures and stuff, and you see with the wins and losses in Greco, your demeanor doesn't really change. You don't see you where obviously in a girls match or on the freestyle side, your demeanor changes. Obviously, you become fierce, you become happy and sad, you become emotions get weird. But with Greco, it seems like you're just out there. It's almost like it's a scrimmage for you.
Last year I got thrown for like 5 or something, and I've never been like thrown before like that. And I was just smiling, and I got up and I was like,
I remember. And I was like, damn, I told your dad. I'm like, damn, she ate that, took it, and just got up laughing.
Yeah,
it was actually funner than I thought.
wait till she's throwing somebody else for 5 and see if she doesn't have a different expression on her face this year. Trust me.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's always a conversation in Fargo is are the singlets. And you guys rocked the Mario singlets last year. Were you a fan or not a fan? What'd you think of it? And
I like them. I love having different singlets. Like, sometimes my dad asks me and I kind of help him sometimes with our singlets. Like, our gear this year for junior duels, I helped him with that. And I just like the characters. I love the little characters, the colors. I just like being different from people too. So I love the gear.
Yeah, and I think everybody loved the gear as well. I think
we sell all our gear. We're always people are always asking to trade, so I think it's a good way to go.
Up in the black market, you could get some good money for your Mario gear. I bet. I'm sure. Very cool.
There's some cool singlets coming this year too. As we saw stuff being
Junior duels.
junior duels, we saw a lot of. I like kind of like the baseball singlets this year. You see some teams, some states coming out with like
Philly.
the Phillies,
Or
the
Pennsylvania,
Pirates. Yeah.
I think it was Ohio singlet. Those singlets were cool at junior duels. They were like shark or something, and they had eyes on the back, and I liked them. They were pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll have to get you back on once you've thrown some people around in Fargo, and you can tell us who had the best singlet this year.
Yeah, I'll rank top 5.
All right, that sounds good.
Top 5 teams.
You have some siblings that wrestle as well, right?
Yes. 2 younger well, I have 3 siblings. Jersey, the older one, and 2 younger siblings. Nova is the one who's starting to wrestle more, and she went to schoolboy duels or schoolgirl duels, and she won a few matches. She's getting better.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
It's kind of cool because your dad, as I tell people, as passionate as he is, you never really hear him like he's not nasty to you guys. Sometimes you hear coaches and they get mean or they get yelling if it's their kids, right? But he's always
especially their kids.
Yeah, but he's always like, even when we saw when you were little wrestling at Hilton Head, he would just grab you and be like, okay, well, that is what it is. We got work to do, right? Like he wasn't like, what is wrong with you? And how has his
you guys don't see behind closed doors. No, I'm just joking. No, he's good.
Oh, that's when he hangs you by the toes?
Yeah.
Awesome. But he seems like he's got a pretty good demeanor. How has that helped? How has that helped you and your calmness in wrestling?
For me, at least, because I'm kind of sensitive, so it definitely helps me. Like if he stays calm with me and stuff, like it just makes me feel more secure that I'll be okay. And like especially during a match, like when I look over and he's shaking, like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Then I'm like, wait, what's going on? What do I need to do? But when he's calm and stuff, like it definitely helps me just like feel secure and feel like I'm gonna get through this and I'm gonna be okay no matter what. And definitely because we have all girls, so he kind of has to be a little sensitive and kind. But it's nice when he's like that.
The other question I had was some people that have been around your dad and wrestled with him growing up, but some people will say he's one of the best teachers at hand fighting in the country. What makes him so great at that particular technique?
I think he just, it's hard to say because it's not me, so I don't know what goes on in his brain, but I know it's a million things.
Fair enough.
He can see things from like so far away. Like he can like tell when someone's about to shoot, when like just by their step, like he knows every little motion of everything. So I think he can just visualize it and see everything that could happen. Like he can almost see the future. He's like, I swear he does. He tells the future sometimes at Fargo or at junior duels. Him and one of the other coaches were like betting on like what's gonna happen with the team and who's gonna win, and he got everything right. He was like, 2 kids are gonna injury default out. 2 kids injury defaulted out. Like it was crazy. He just like guessed everything. So I just think, and also he's been wrestling a long time. He's a hard worker. He studies things. When he's into something, he studies it till he gets it like perfect. Like he used to, I think he still does believe in flat earth, and he studied it for days upon days so that whenever people like would ask him, he had backup and everything. So he's just a hard worker.
Do you try to argue that with him? Like, Dad, it's
the flat
wrong,
earth? No. I'm like, I'm fine with whatever as long as I'm breathing.
Awesome.
Zao, we want to say best of luck this week in Fargo. We have been fans for a long time. We have watched you ascend to the very top, and we can't wait to be there and watch you take that next step and win a Fargo title.
Thank you so much.
You have a good one, and
we're
safe
definitely going to
travels.
be rooting for you. Yeah, safe
Absolutely.
travels, have fun,
Thank
and
you.
please tell your dad we said hey. And man, God bless that guy, and he's come so far, and good for him.
Yes.
All right. You take
Thank
care.
you guys so much. Thank you. Bye. I'm
Bye,
gonna win
Zao.
for you this time.
Let's
Don't win for
go.
us. Don't win for us. You win
And
for
for
you.
me, and for
You
me.
win for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good
Bye.
day. Bye.
See you, bye. Yeah, I mean, what an awesome young lady. What an awesome family. And yeah, her dad has come a long way in life, and he's just awesome.
Yeah, no doubt. And I actually thought that what you said was super great in that he is super passionate, but he has figured out what works for the athlete that is on the mat, right? And that's what good coaches do. You know, I need to have energy to motivate this person, to get them to bring it.
Right.
I need to be calm because Zao is going to react to me in a particular way. And if she sees me kind of this way, she might react this way. So
Yeah, his energy and
is super good.
his energy and his volume is never negative. It's always positive. So even though he's being loud or his volume is coming across to a kid, or it may look like something it isn't, it's not that. It's he's touching these kids in a different way with his energy and his volume and his faith. I mean, his faith is huge, and he's
Right.
getting these kids to believe. And that was one thing that I was talking about when we saw that kid come back from down 3 matches in a row to end up winning the grappler,
Fall. Yeah.
the Hilton Head grappler at the time. And you heard him, believe. He just kept screaming at him.
I want to remember. I want to think that that's Giannis Charles that he was talking to, but I could be wrong. So
yeah, I mean, I have the video, so I'll have to find it and send it to you, because I put it on I did a reel on it at the time, and it was really
really?
cool. You just saw him like, and it was pretty. He laughed
All right.
about it too, and he said thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about Team South Carolina, since we're talking about Team South Carolina with Zao Estrada. They're bringing a really good squad with them to Fargo, and certainly Zao is kind of your headliner, right? I mean, you don't get to that level and and all that as somebody to definitely watch, but there are a lot of other girls and guys that that are ready to have a great week.
Fantastic. And let's just say that South Carolina wrestling has been better and become better with the Estrada family involved in it. I mean, he welcomes anybody into his room. He always has stuff. And but yeah, they've got a lot of studs coming out of there. And I know you're definitely more familiar with them than I are.
Speaking is one of those things, right? Yeah.
Than IR. He speaks better than IR too.
So just so everybody knows, on SC Wrestle next, it'll be probably July 8th or 9th. I will begin dropping an edition for every single state. And the first state that I think it's going to drop will be South Carolina. But just to throw out a couple of names, and I break it down into these things. A can't miss hammer, like a super great kid, right? A breakout candidate, a day tour, somebody who, because you and I know making day 2 in Fargo is a big deal. It's a big deal to get through day 1.
And matter of fact, speaking of somebody, Estrada and I were having a conversation last year on the side, and I remember him speaking about this later to somebody. He posted something, but I said to him, I've only been to this thing a couple years, and I feel like these kids that make the blood round, just making the blood round even and losing, have been offered Division I scholarships and Division I offers, because that's how big and huge and difficult it is just to make the blood round.
100%. And there are some super, super talented wrestlers across that. You might look at it and go, I wasn't that I didn't make the podium. I wasn't a Fargo All-American. I'm thinking to myself, man, you went 6-2 in a bracket that had 256 kids of some of the best wrestlers around. That is one heck of an accomplishment. And, like a kid like Case and Howell out of South Carolina, 5-2 last year's at 16U, first year 16U, or no, second year 16U. This year he's a first year junior, man, and making that step up to juniors. It's gonna be fun to watch him, see how well he does.
Definitely a step up.
Angel Serrano, who I think he came down. He's down in South Carolina training with the Estradas. He was a Fargo All-American in Greco last year in Colorado. So I mean, he's going to be one to watch from the state of South Carolina too, man.
Yeah, and they've got we have a lot in the Southeast. I know I'm starting to see the lineups for Florida down here as we're getting closer, and
Sunshine State bringing a lot of kids.
A lot of kids, and we talked about one kid, Roderick, a couple weeks ago, and he went over and he really did well on the Greco side at junior duel. So hoping to see him make another run like that on the Greco side.
So and to throw out a couple of his teammates on the duels team, Anderson Heat, Gunnar Holland, both had really, really good tournaments. There were several kids from Florida who had really, really good tournaments. And for me, that's a really good indicator of kind of where you stand. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to be an All-American. It doesn't mean it, but certainly if you can go out there and compete with people, that's pretty. Awesome.
And Heaps made a couple deep runs.
He has.
Unfortunately, last year Gunnar got injured, so he didn't make the trip. But he's going to make the trip this year. I'm excited to see him. A kid that's been working really, really hard is Hussam Mustafa. We call him Sam.
Okay.
And he's been working really, really hard, and I think we're going to see him make some good moves. Obviously we're rooting for everybody, but I'm just
we are rooting for everybody. But
as I look through these kids, I mean, we kind of know.
Yeah, let's say a couple names, right? So it's 16 U's, okay, based upon what we've seen in the last, say, 6 months. Okay, lots of great kids. I mean, really, I could talk about each and every single one of them for a long time, but we don't have that time. But if you're looking, Mac Andrews, right? Mac Andrews had a great duels, right?
Great duels.
Giovanni Solis went to Pan Am's and won a gold for Puerto Rico at Pan Am's. They're both 16
and a bronze in Greco.
And a bronze in Greco, right? Somebody off the radar, Nick Blake had a really good duels, wrestled exceptionally well. And then we get kids like KJ Vasquez at 16U, who's now a second year 16U. That's super important.
And he was really light last year, and he came in at a perfect weight for him, and he was able to get a small stop sign, All-American status. And I'm excited to see what he does.
I don't know if anybody else calls them, but I call them coasters.
Coasters, there you go.
The coasters, baby. Coasters versus stop signs. But one of the things that I actually want, this is a thing that is a running theme as far as the conversation between you and I, and that is you are a big advocate that the Florida girls would be amongst the top if they had more numbers, right? And the junior girls this year, they don't have Claire Bowie coming back, right? Gabby Tedesco is not on the squad. So you might immediately go, ooh, maybe we're going to take a step back. I don't think so. And the reason I don't think so is you have two 16U champions, Mary Manis, Maya Bethel, who are moving up to juniors. Huge move. But you know what? They're moving up to juniors. And then you return, some absolute hammers. You got Sofia Delgado in there. And you've got
Mariah Mills.
You got Milana Borelli. You've got Kielani Barrientos. Both of them were All-Americans last year. And then you've got that, for me, you got the names of that have been All-Americans before. And then you've got another list, another group, Mills, Rizzuto, Johnson, Camden Elliott, all girls who have been here before, know what it's like, and are ready to take Kiki Bush, ready to take that next step and step onto the podium. Trust me.
And I'm curious. I haven't seen the girls list, but because I'm not sure if she's on the age. Did Zoe Delgado, is she on the 16U?
No, she's not on the 16U. I
She's
don't think
still
she's
young.
I still think she's 14. In fact, I know
still
she's 14U because she wrestled at Southeast Regionals
Okay,
at 14U.
because that's a girl coming up at the 14 level, and then obviously we saw what Paola Perez did at 14U at the duels.
Well, you've got,
She
I
was
mean,
awesome.
really the girl that that I think of at 16U is Abby Gonzalez. And if you guys haven't seen Abby Gonzalez wrestle, she is a stud.
She is a hammer.
She is
wrestled
a stud.
against Gabby Tedesco in the state finals, and
that's right.
you know,
that's right. Yeah.
And the first round, she got a takedown on her and stuff, and she made Gabby work. And you talked to Coach JD, and you're like, we saw Gabby's demeanor change after we took her down.
And then you talk about the junior boys. I mean, first thing, Michael Mako, who is probably your best opportunity to win a title, is not there because he's training for world championships, right? But that doesn't mean, you got CJ Torres is a returning junior All-American. He's on the list, right? EJ Solis, who was banged up last year, didn't wrestle, is on the list.
Sebastian he wrestled, but he got to the blood round match limping on one knee, and I know.
Oh, that's right. I thought that was 2 years ago. My bad, EJ.
He wasn't definitely wasn't 100% going into that match. He was wrestling on one leg, and I know Coach Duck, if he would have won that match, Coach Duck would have pulled him from the tournament because of his injury, but he didn't win the match, so he got pulled anyway. But yeah, it's going to be nice to see him coming into the tournament healthy, because I'd love to see what a healthy EJ does at that level.
Anyone who is coming, right? Everybody, when I don't know, maybe this is wrong, but whenever I entered a tournament, my goal is always to win. Okay. And obviously you want to win. I mean, but I think that it's also important to have some real good perspective. This is a tournament where your bracket could be 256 people, right? Wrestling, getting close wins, getting yourself better, getting to the next step, going 4-2 in your first time in Fargo. Those are all absolute great accomplishments.
Another kid I'm excited to watch is we have, let's see, where are they? The lighter ones here. Are we getting
who are you looking for?
I was looking up here. I know one Daniel Aranda at 132. I'm excited to see what he does, and also
he's off to is he off to Brown? Where's he going to school?
I think it is Brown, and no, Daniel Aranda is at Penn. I think it's Penn.
Okay, one of the slagger schools in the Northeast, man.
I actually made the edit, so I should know, but I think it was Penn. And another kid from the same program, two other kids from the same program with CK, Casina, and Paradon. Paradon has really jumped a couple of levels, being transitioning over to Lake Highland Prep and wrestling at the national level. So I am excited to see what he does.
Well, and Zeno Moore.
Interesting. Zeno,
I think, might have been a 16U last year, All-American, and now he's a first-year junior,
And he's looking good. I mean, man, I could go down this list. We have some really good young kids.
We do. Let's get off the list.
I have a problem because I want to just name everybody.
You do. So let's name a former Florida wrestler, right, who's now competing for another state, and that is a tip of the cap to Team Mississippi, which will bring their first team to Fargo ever, right? And they have 2 representatives. One, I believe, is Ian Hudgens. I believe that's Ian's last name. And Ian, if I slaughtered that, I apologize. And the other is Bear Siegel. Bear, unlike a lot of people who are coming from, a new state, that sort of thing, Bear lives up in the Panhandle. and obviously now in Mississippi, and he's been here before. He's wrestled in Fargo before for the state of Florida. That is so huge, and it's so awesome to see Team Mississippi as part of the group. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I sent the link to Andy because when he got the email for the Florida link, and he said, "Well, we're at Mississippi." I said, "Well, I just happen to have maybe one of those too." So I sent him the Mississippi link, and I believe you'll see Bear's name on there.
And what are you talking about as far as the link goes, so that we can let everybody know?
Yeah, so we made 6 links. We made a link for each one of the states that Dirty South covers, that Jason covers, as far as.
Well, we're covering it now. It's us.
Okay, I'm included now. That's great. But yeah, Alabama, Mississippi,
he'll have to pay
Tennessee.
his entrance fee later.
I gotta pay the dues. But let me see if I can do this off the top of my head, guys. It's Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, both Carolinas, and Florida, and Georgia, right?
Yes.
And Georgia. So we have 7.
7.
And we have created.
We weren't sure how good Dan's geography was going to be, and when he just did that, I mean, it was we were wondering if he was going to be able to do it or not.
I do think the Southeast is right above Vermont, but I'm getting better at that stuff. But yeah, so we've created 7 links, and they all have access for you to put your athletes who are competing on the national team in there, and their accomplishments, their accolades, their coach's name, where they think, are they rising freshman, rising junior, rising senior, and have they graduated already? And just giving them an opportunity to be able to be seen by the coaches, the college coaches. We've created a little application, a little flow code, and it has nothing to do with Flow Wrestling. It is just a company that's called Flow Code that we use, and through that I can create a flow page, and on that flow page we'll have all 7 of the states that we represent on there, and coaches will be able to click that link, whatever they're looking at. Let's say they see a kid from Georgia and they're like, "Wow, damn, that kid's wow, he competed really tough." Whether he won or lose, a lot of these coaches, make no mistake, winning is great and creates opportunities. But losing can create opportunities too, because your effort in the loss means a lot to these coaches, and they see a kid like that. And anyway, they can click the link and go find Georgia on our app and click it, and you'll be listed there by name and coach and high school, as long as you filled it out properly, and they'll be able to contact you.
Yeah. So for everybody, so step 1, there will be a link that each of you can get access to. It's a form, basically fill it out. When we're walking around, we have interactions with lots of different people. There's a QR code that college coaches will be able to scan, and they'll be able to get access to that information. The most important piece of that information is your name, whether you're a rising senior, junior, or whatever, and the fact that you were interested in filling out the information, so that coaches can go, "Hey, I know how to contact this kid. I watched him. Let's go from there." So that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to be a conduit for a connection between you guys as the athletes or coaches and the college coaches. Right?
Yeah. So really quickly here.
Are you going to share your screen?
Yeah, I'll share my screen right now. So really quickly here, and I hope everybody can see. Can you see my screen, Jason?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you'll receive a link, and the link is going to take you, for example, we'll just use Team Florida, right? The link is going to take you to a questionnaire just like this. Through the questionnaire, you'll see, "Welcome to the athlete information, blah, blah, blah." And then you'll see first name, last name, high school, coach's name, grade, age, projected weight, men or women, depending on who's filling this out. Are you interested in college? Look, if you're not interested in college, click no, or if you've already committed, click already committed. That will help if somebody's looking at that and you're not. That doesn't mean that they may not contact you and try to talk you out of it, but there's your accomplishments. Upload a photo, and I put here, please remember, coaches will see this, so don't do one like let's do a clean one. email address. I mean, I love those photos, and Jason does when we're having fun at the tournaments. But
Right,
for the coaches, let's put that.
But
And
guys,
then
this is your opportunity to have an impression upon a future coach. Let's do it the way it should be done.
Right. And right down here, can coaches contact me? This is big because if you look at any of the portals or anything that you go on to, coaches need permission to contact you. So by you saying yes, it gives them permission, and they'll be able to contact you. So once you fill this out, your information will go into
a spreadsheet.
Yeah, well, I guess I can't X out of that. I don't know why, but whatever.
Do a blank one. Don't do Team Florida because I don't want to share their information. Go to like Alabama or Georgia. We haven't shared yet.
So it'll come here to Team Alabama, and what'll happen is as you start to fill it out, it'll say boom, boom, your name, high school, coach's name, grade, and it'll have everything you filled out, all your information here, and all your accolades, right? So the coach will be able to click the link that we send them. It'll bring them right to this spreadsheet. They can find your name and they can find out more about you. So they'll say, I don't know why that's happening, but I'll figure that out later. But anyway, that'll be really, really good for you guys. We're not doing this for us. We're doing this for you.
Absolutely.
If you haven't been to Fargo, there's hundreds of coaches. Last year I did a quick little reel that said, why compete at Fargo? And then I did and you'll see, I think there was 70 coaches in that between D1, D2, D3, NAIA, club coaches. I mean, they're all there.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, really, honestly, you're sitting there, and Daniel Cormier is coaching a kid, one of his California kids, and Ben Askren's over in the other corner, but then you also have top level coaches from all over the country. They see lots of different kids. They don't necessarily know who everyone is.
That's the truth. And you get in there and it's really pretty cool. And to get the opportunity to be in there and see that. So just to give you an idea, really quick here, I'll open up a preview and I'll share real quick with you guys what the coach is going to see. We're going to have a QR code that will take you right to an application or on your computer, and it's going to take them to this. This is what I have set up right now. What we have set up right now. Take them to this. It's the junior national duels, and they can click on any one of these. And so let's just click on Team Georgia, and it'll take them right to the information that they're looking for. So pretty basic setup, but easy for everybody to figure out. And and that's that.
Very cool. Yeah. So we have covered Team South Carolina, Team Florida, and Team Mississippi today for the preview. For next week, we will finish with the other 4 states: Team Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and I just messed it up. Alabama. Sorry. Woo.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, if you get an opportunity, throughout the weeks, oops, I'm still here, but throughout the weeks, you'll see. Let me open this up. Let me pull this over here. We're here. I'll go over to the internet here, and listen. This is how I get a lot of my information, guys. Is Jason does a lot of work during the weeks. If you guys don't know how much work he puts in, I'll share the screen here. If you go right to his website, scwrestle.com, and you'll see every week he's got headlines up and whatever's going on in the South is there. So you'll be able to see all of this. He's going to be putting up previews of every team in the South. It'll have everything here, links.
So actually, Dan, let's do that. So I'm going to show you here. If you let me share my screen, I'll show you.
Sure. Let me stop sharing. There you go. Yeah. So a lot of.
So you got to turn my. You have to turn mine on.
Okay. Share settings. Multiple participants can share. There we go.
Okay. So since we've already done Florida. Is it up? Let's see. Right there. Okay.
Boom.
So right now you see over here, this is my draft. These are the ones I'm working on. But This will be the fans guide for the state of Florida. They'll give you some history. Florida has 536 medals, dude. How awesome is that? 83
awesome.
National titles. We talk about the history a little bit. Some information I think is pretty important. We go to the actual squad, which is not done yet. I still need to go through and italicize all the returners in there. And then at the bottom, you will see who to watch. And I come up with your can't miss hammer, a breakout candidate, day 2, stepping up, and we go through those.
If you guys aren't following him on social media, you should do that. He posts some pretty cool stuff while he's doing all this. I saw some newspaper clippings and some historic information that he posts, and it's pretty cool. It helps me because I get into kind of tunnel vision on what I'm doing, and I could care less about anything else. And then getting to read stuff of that, it actually helps me gain some knowledge.
Well, we all play a role, each and every single one of us. Dan's playing a specific role. You know, Lucas Da Silva and Fat and Scrappy is doing his thing. Cabra down with Brant Parsons is doing his thing. We love everybody who is trying to be a part of everything that's going on. Elevate the conversation as it relates to the sport. And that's what we're trying to do too.
Yeah, and we talked about that on the photo aspect of it too. But
Absolutely.
as far as these links and these college opportunities, guys, we're not going to fill it out for you, right? We're giving you an opportunity to have a platform to fill it out, put your information on there. It'll take you, I don't know, a minute maybe, if you know everything. I mean, if you know your first name and last name right off the tip of your head, you should be able to do it pretty quickly.
Right. For those of you that are gonna have to ask your mom or dad to help you out, like, I mean, it might take you a little bit longer.
Yeah. But yeah, you should be able to do that. So yeah, get it on there, and we'll be doing that. I know Jason will be at Fargo immediately. He'll be there from day 1, probably from day -2.
-2, actually.
Yes. So he'll be there a couple days prior. And so as far as the Florida girls and the Florida boys go, I'll miss the first couple days of the boys and the girls. I'll be in Lima, Peru with my son. I'll be there on the 16th. I'll be flying in at some point on the 16th to get the remainder of the tournament. But Jason will be there covering all the Southeast. He'll definitely get coverage of Florida girls and the start of the Florida boys, as well as everything in the Southeast. But also, I know Daisy has some photographers coming with the girls team, so they should be able to do that. There will be some people there, I'm sure, with a camera on the boys' side for their kids, so they'll be able to get some other kids too. So we should get plenty of coverage.
And one of the things that I want to tell everybody, right, regardless of what state you're in or whatever, right, we'll be taking a ton of pictures, right? We'll take pictures of lots of different people all over the place. Okay, check us, like check to make sure that we don't have a picture. Like we haven't, maybe we caught a picture of you throwing somebody. Maybe we haven't. I don't know. But if you're a photographer, right, let us know, because you might be taking pictures for this group or that group, and but if you let us know, we can share it to so many kids and so many parents all over the place.
Or even we know, Jason, how many times do you get a text message or a private message that says, "Hey, Mr. Ward or Mr. Fulmore, do you know anybody else that was taking pictures
absolutely
at the event?" And a lot of times I don't, because I don't know that you're there, right? But when I know Jason is there, obviously we say Jason, but I don't know, maybe Mac Andrews' dad is there. Maybe
correct.
Maybe I'm having a brain fart because I'm getting old, but there's a young lady that wrestles for Hernando whose mom takes photos.
Right, Grace Leota.
Grace Leota. So Miss Leota might be there taking pictures.
There's tons of people taking pictures. Let us know. Let us know. We'll put it up somewhere and have a link to everybody's Smug Bug so that everybody can have an idea of where to go look.
Yeah, absolutely. We just want to make sure that you're getting the coverage and get an opportunity to get a memory, and it'll be awesome. I was going to ask you, and I know might as well ask while we're on the air. Some ideas for Fargo. I'll be there late, a couple days into it, but maybe from when I get there moving on, or we got to do some sort of podcast. Maybe we can get a hold of some of these state coaches too. And I don't know if it's something you want to do where maybe uh, we have all 7 states represented every day at a certain time, and we have all the coaches come over and we talk to them a little bit, or maybe we do something where maybe we have the Florida coach, let's say Mason, for example, or Mako or Cody
Or
or
Daisy.
whomever,
Yeah.
or Daisy or whomever it might be. And we do a short little thing with them, and then we have Georgia or Alabama or Arkansas, or we just talk shit for 30 minutes about Fargo, just the 2 of us. But
well,
that could happen too.
I will say this. I'm hoping to reach out. I'm hoping to reach out to May Prado, who is a former Georgia wrestler. She's a senior. She's going to be up there taking pictures, that sort of thing. She's not wrestling this year. She didn't wrestle last year. She was on the world team, that sort of thing with that. But she'll be up there taking pictures. And because Dan is going to be in Peru, I'm hoping that she and I can go around and grab some information, especially since May knows all these girls, right? She's wrestled with them and everything else. That's so awesome. So I'm hoping to engage her on the girls' side. First couple of days of the boys' side, I'm not 100% sure, but Dan and I will definitely figure out a way every day to do some type of recap, whether that's with interviews with somebody or it's just you and I talking or whatever. But every day we're going to do something to figure it out, like I did with Lucas last year. Lucas can't make it this year, so we're gonna figure all that out, and it's gonna be a blast, man. Everybody should just tune in.
The reason Lucas can't make it is because he can't find his plane ticket.
That's not what he probably lost up in Fargo, but it's all good.
I love you, Lucas.
Absolutely.
But yeah, cool, full of energy. I love hear him cover his state. It is awesome. So good stuff. Well, man, next week we'll do it again, right?
Yeah, just so everybody knows, Dan will be prepping, going to Lima, Peru, still be sitting in his living room though on Tuesday. Yours truly will be in Des Moines, Iowa next Tuesday. I'll try to find a cool place to do the podcast from, where you guys can maybe see Des Moines, Iowa in the background or something like that. On my way to Fargo, where I'll see each and every single one of you guys on Thursday or Friday.
Which is awesome. And congratulations. I believe it's Jake Lamont that they just announced taking over the LifeU assistant position. So congratulations to him and Omi. And I know he's a long time friend and brethren of Omi, being his roommate at Grandview and competing with Omi at Grandview. And now coming in there. So good luck to him. And we will I'll have him on my show next Tuesday. I know we have a big show going on with covering the duels. He'll be on, whether it's with me by myself or if we transition to bringing him on at the first part of our show with SE Wrestle, one of the two. But we'll let you guys get to meet him next week. That's
awesome, man.
So,
well, great job. Last thing I want to say is, Zao Estrada, thank you so much for reaching out and to jumping onto the conversation with Dan and awesome. I. We want to wish not just you, but all Team South Carolina and everybody that's heading to Fargo the best of luck. You guys all make a run for your titles, man. We can't wait to watch.
And I'll see everybody this Friday on the Florida team. That'll be at the Team Florida camp at Spartan RTC at LHP. So they'll be there practicing. I'm sure there's Fargo camps going on all over the country this weekend. So good luck to everybody out there. Get the work in, but most importantly, stay healthy, no injuries. Get out there, get your work in, but get out of the gym with everything intact and ready to go.
All right, man. See you guys.
See you.